Hi, Dr. Nick.
Hey, everybody. Are we in now, Pete?
We're good. We're
We're
good.
in. First off, I'd like to thank Necron for the biddies.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate that. While we were in the wait screen for everybody to get in here. So, welcome to the Monday Morning Super Show. Oh my gosh, we've got some decent topics for you guys today. It was 10th edition launch weekend this weekend, so I was in the store for a good chunk of the weekend, getting in some 10th edition games with some of our awesome customers.
Yes.
Initial impressions, it plays faster. It does play faster. The army construction rules are strong. Oh, I also promised I would review the app.
Oh, yeah.
They did release a new Army Builder app. It is 10 times better than the last one they tried to do.
I was going to say, you guys were done like after an hour and a half?
It's 2.5 for a 2,000-point game. And we only got through and Alyssa conceded. But the new Army Builder app is good enough where once GW tells me how much it costs, if it's reasonable, I will pay for it, right? As long as I don't go freaking completely bonkers and be like, $15.99, I did win yesterday. I lost on Saturday.
Okay.
So I've now played 3 games of 10th edition.
But did you win?
What's that?
But did you win?
Yes. I've won 1 and lost 2. Again, I'm also kind of playing, I don't want to say meme lists, but I'm playing my Eldari list is not optimized.
You play Eldari, which we don't, I've not seen a whole lot of people around here playing.
Yeah, so I've done 1 game with my Astra Militarum, and I've done 2 games with my Eldari. Again, a lot of what I'm doing is I'm throwing random units onto the list with the new construction rules. It's very easy to do, to just be like, oh, let's try this one, to see what they do. Okay. And see how they interact on the board.
Just to figure it out.
Yeah, because you got to see how they're going to, with the new rules, you have to see how they're going to interact on the board. So not 2 my Wraith Cannon Wraith Knights. No, I did bring a Wraith Knight, both my Eldari games, but mine has the giant sword. It's in the front case at the store.
Very pretty. Very pretty.
Our good friend, Pete and I's good friend Sean, actually painted that for me.
Oh, wow.
A couple years ago as a birthday present.
He's so good.
He is.
Incredible.
Yeah. I heard good things about SummerCon. No, I didn't do Gilliman with 20 Desolator Marines. That's going to be Phil. Phil would do something like that. I think he has a Gilliman model, too.
Probably. He has all the stuff.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's, okay.
So again, the new Army Builder app, fairly intuitive. I only found a couple of bugs. The UI is pretty. It's well designed.
Okay.
The data sheets are accessible from inside the app once you get into your builder, right? Okay. So you don't have to go scrolling back and forth. They're in the app.
It doesn't look like an Android Java app from forever ago.
No, it does not.
Okay.
It looks very much like a modern mobile app.
Good.
And again, it's got some nice art to it. It's got the pictures, and so you know what you're looking at. Non-40K preview event on the 1st of July. I don't think anybody cares about non-40K right now. 10th edition just came out.
Question about the app. Where do you rank it as far as in relation to Battlescribe? Will it make people switch?
I think so.
Okay.
First off, right now, and again, I don't want to go deep down this rabbit hole because there's still a lot of information a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
There may not be Battlescribe for 10th edition. Battlescribe may stop updating for 10th.
I was going to say, they've been pretty about updates, apparently. It's been the main criticism.
Yep.
Link to the app. I'll find it.
It is, you just look for the new Warhammer 40K app in your local app store, whatever you are.
Oh, yeah, it depends on if you're...
Android or iPhone. Just look for Warhammer 40K. It'll come up.
Not bad.
And it'll say new. It's a very, let's see if we can... Yep.
I Googled Warhammer Army Builder app, and Battlescribe is the first thing that came up.
You can see it. It looks...
There you go. It looks like GW's storefront. It's unified.
So, and then once you go in, there's all your options, right? And then you've got your data sheet. Thank you. You've got the data sheet. It works. It works fairly well. I actually, I will be honest, it works a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Thanks, Canada Dry. That's a great link. It has the link for both the Apple and the Google app.
Yeah, that should be it. So, again, I think it's I think it's definitely worth it. As long as they don't make it too expensive.
Yeah.
When they actually start charging for it. So right now, you can use the battle editor, and I think this is smart of GW, is it's free right now. All the references are free right now.
Oh, giving away the free crack.
All the stuff is free right now. So you can just log in and be there.
So it sounds like, aside from the whole Leviathan box fiasco, they are doing pretty good on 10th edition and kind of easing people into it.
So far.
Cool.
They just added Forge World. I know they released the data sheets for Forge World, but let me look at something because I actually was trying to get my Forge World stuff to work yesterday. And
Shane, you're good. It took me by surprise.
Did they add the Forge World stuff in?
I should have been prepared. That's what my reaction was.
I do not yet have Forge World stuff in the Battle Forge.
Yeah, Forge Worlds, they're in a weird spot right now anyway.
I'm looking again. Nope. So I don't see Forge World. The Forge World is not in the Battle Forge. They do have data sheets and points out there. So.
Fiasco being that, like, if you are not even a small store, the Leviathan box situation, some stores got 150 and some stores got 3.
Yeah.
And there was not much in between.
The allocation has been kind of wonky. I met with another game store owner on Saturday and had some discussions about what was going on with GW. So we're going to see if we can get some information this week. So might have some updates for you. Okay.
Yeah. Gamers7pnw.com, intro, promos and events.
Yes, we still have Leviathan boxes in stock. So if you want to get into Warhammer, this is an interesting thing. If you're not into Warhammer yet, an edition launch, especially a hard reset edition launch, is a great time to get in because everybody's learning.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody's very
yes,
even keel,
learning it. Right?
All the time with 40K's 10th edition launch. So I think it's really, really great.
Yes.
So more updates as we find out more about 10th edition. I would expect a FAQ and a points adjustment in about 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen. What was it?
Yeah.
When Votank came out, it was 2-3 days later. They're like, update.
This is an edition launch, so again, I think it's gonna be due at 2 or 3 weeks. They'll let people get through it. Okay. First topic today.
Wow.
What did we do? No.
Good.
Okay. First topic today. So the internet went all abuzz Thursday night, kind of going into Friday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Because somebody got on Twitter and was like, hey, did anybody else notice in multiple watchings of Spider-Verse that this scene is different in this version and this version? And people started comparing notes. And so somebody came out on Twitter and was like, I think there's multiple versions of Spider-Verse out there. And then the editor for the film quote tweeted that from his personal Twitter account saying, I was wondering when somebody was going to notice. It took like 3 weeks before it really kind of broke. But I think that's interesting.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
And they didn't tell anyone.
Think about it this way. If Blade Runner had released with narration and with not narration.
Yes.
At the same time. Just randomly, depending on which one you went to, which viewing.
I mean, and they're not huge story-breaking changes, right? It's not like one of those things where it's like the entire ending is different depending on which theater you go to. But there are some little, like a bunch of them, and so far Kotaku had documented like 15 or 16 that people had noticed. Wow. And I am sure over the weekend, right, people all ran back to the theater to see what else they could spot.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that definitely could drive more people going to see it again. I'm surprised, and we briefly talked about this. I'm a little surprised, being that they are a big company and they want all the money.
Sony, yeah.
That they didn't say it within the first week to drive more people to watch, that they let people organically
figure it out.
See,
and this is where I think that was the smart play. Because there's enough of these people who are Easter egg hunters, and you see these YouTube videos all the time, things like that, where I think they knew somebody was going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was going to come along organically that Spider-Verse had multiple versions.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair. With a franchise and a fandom that big, yeah.
And actually, as it so happens, I was looking at the box office numbers for the weekend. I think they went back to number 1.
Really?
Yep.
Good.
There wasn't a lot of competition this weekend. Yep. Spider-Verse went back to number 1.
Oh, isn't this like a week after the Flash launch or 2 weeks after?
Yep.
Sorry, Flash.
It's currently, yeah, so this was the 4th weekend for Across the Spider-Verse. It's officially been a month for them. And they went back to number 1 again.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah.
Making money, making money. Something Flash.
The Flash dropped 73%.
Oh, no. It was because of our video. We spoiled it.
Probably not, but...
Probably not.
Sticking with Spider-Verse, I mean, again, I think it takes a lot of guts for Sony and for Lord and Miller to be like, this is something we're going to pull off.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're being more creative.
I'm just thinking of that from an editing standpoint too. A lot of extra stuff to do, but hopefully they enjoyed it. I mean, it's a beautiful film. I'd love editing it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was a blast.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was great. Some of the changes that people have noticed is there's dialogue changes in a few of the different scenes. In one of the other scenes, the little AI that helps Spider-Man 2099 does something different when he's trying to do something. Like in one, she's taking a selfie with both of them.
Yeah.
And in another one, she doesn't. There's some different lines at some key points in the movie. So, yeah, I think it's really gutsy for them to do it. I saw a lot of comparisons to Clue.
Okay.
All the multiple endings to Clue.
Okay.
Communism was a red herring. And if you haven't seen Clue, that is a phenomenal film, and you really should go watch it.
Tim Curry at his height.
Definitely one of his best roles.
Yeah, he's so good.
Definitely one of his best roles.
How far did Indy fall?
Something Flash. I don't think it is even out yet.
I don't think it. I just saw. I have to Google now. I just saw an advertisement for it the other day. I didn't know it was so close. Indiana Jones.
I think it's out this weekend.
It has a 9 on IMDb though, which June 30th. So it is this weekend.
This weekend. So
yes.
Indy will release this weekend. Indy's a freaking wild card. I honestly, I can't tell you how this film's gonna do. I really don't know.
I think you'll get people. If I were a movie-going person, I'd go see it just because it's Indiana Jones. I want to see it. But after the Crystal Skull, yeah.
I have to say, on the Crystal Skull subject, film theory Matt Pat did over the weekend was, could he have survived the fridge episode? Right? And he loves to use his math.
Yes.
Apparently he can. Apparently that was not as unrealistic as we were all led to believe.
Isn't he like hanging from a helicopter in this one? I saw in the preview or something like that.
I've seen so many weird stuff in the previews on this one. I do want to see Indy 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it.
What a summer though. Like we still got Barbie coming up, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think that one's gonna blow everybody out of the water. I think it's gonna do well.
What's the release date on that?
Later this summer. Barbie is one of my most anticipated films of the year.
July 21st. So it will be after everything's kind of died down, and then boom, they get to have a crack at it. So hey,
again, Barbie, cool. The Barbie movie is one of my most anticipated films of the year. It releases the same weekend as Oppenheimer, which I'm also really looking forward to seeing.
So it's two very different movies. I think they'll be okay.
Wait, somebody said where? Oh, The Empire Strikes Back. It's in Seattle.
The Empire Strikes Back burlesque.
No, Strips Back.
Strips Back. That's cool.
Apparently, it's inspired by The Matrix. Greta Gerwig is
Yeah.
extremely. She's an extremely creative filmmaker. I see stuff in the previews that makes me think that there is a lot going on under the surface.
Yeah.
And then what they said at CinemaCon, which was, if you love Barbie, this is a movie for you. If you hate Barbie, this is the movie for you.
Good.
And so I am really, really interested to see what she did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to just pack up a couple $100 and take a weekend and just camp out at the movie theater and watch everything.
Oppenheimer looks like they're assembling the physics injectors. That's kind of what they did when they built the bomb. That's kind of what they did. They were like, let's go find all the best guys that Germany kicked out, and we're gonna go build a bomb.
Okay, so I don't really watch like trailers and ads and stuff very much, but I do have the cheap Hulu. Don't at me, student discount, so it's $3, so I'll watch some ads. The trailer for Oppenheimer, from what I recall, I was like, this is pretty intense, like a superhero movie trailer for what this story is. Not what the story is, but everyone being so like, yeah, okay, I made a bomb. Like these vibes are very different, but it made me interested. So whatever. What is this? Oh.
Yep. Again, I think Christopher Nolan has got a finger on this one. I like everything with Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. He's so good. He really was a good Scarecrow.
He really was a phenomenal Scarecrow, and he was great in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Your love for Peaky Blinders.
I do love Peaky Blinders. I'm still waiting for my final season of Peaky Blinders, which may or may not happen. Who knows? Because the actors may be going on strike at the end of this week.
That keeps throwing up a wall. I'm like, yeah, this final season, this movie, and then somebody's like, but the actors and the writers. I'm like, you're right. You're right.
So anyway, that's what we think. We kind of wandered into movies there, but yeah. So if you have seen Across the Spider-Verse, go try and find a different theater because it may be a different movie. Let us know what you think. I think they should do more fun stuff like this. I love Easter egg hunts, especially when they're done cleverly. This is the kind of thing that I think is a lot of fun. Yeah. You would almost have to see them back to back, though.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to go to one showing and then like drive across town to another theater and be like, let's see a different one now. So let us know what you think. While we get ready for our second topic of the day, if you have any topics you want us to talk about at the close end of the show, go ahead and drop them in the comments in YouTube or TikTok or Twitch, of which we are live everywhere. So drop your questions or comments in the chat, and we will try and get to those at the end of the show.
Sorry, we're all over. Our brains are a little mush today.
I don't know what's going on. All right, moving right along. This is gonna get us. Our second topic today is something we've kind of talked about a few times before, but this one's a little more specific. Over the weekend, the Bethesda Twitter said that there was going to be no actual physical release for Starfield, and even when you bought the physical copy, it was not going to be a disc, it was going to be a code. So you're basically going to the store to buy a box with a code in it. Now, that tweet has since been deleted, and they've walked back. Now, most of the stuff I'm seeing this morning from Polygon and stuff like that is, hey, Bethesda, how difficult is this for you to do? Because some of the online sales stuff, like where you can pre-order online, says, yes, there's a disc. Some of them don't say there's a disc. Why is this so complicated for them, Pete?
Big company, lack of communication.
You'd think they would know what product they're selling. Like, hey, we have these 4 versions. These ones come with a disc. These ones don't.
Yeah. I think they wanted to try something, but maybe after the whole fiasco once again with the Xbox One launch, when they were like, it's digital only, no used games. And they were like, we're going to softly do this because then PlayStation's going to do another meme on us of handing a game to somebody.
The days of waiting in line at midnight release is true as done. Yes, and so that kind of brings me to the thing. Like, even when we do a physical media releases, they're usually DRM tied, which drives me absolutely crazy.
Yep.
I think that there's multiple problems here. One is I really don't like the idea of going to a store. Like, why even bother at that point? Why not just tell Best Buy, look, guys, we're not selling it in stores. We're just going to do all digital stuff. Like, cool, Best Buy is going to get $5 a copy for every copy of Starfield that they sell.
Yeah.
Code for. Like, I don't even see the point, right? If you're going to DRM tie it and you're just not going to release physical media, if you're just going to do that stuff, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why even bother. Why would you sell a box with nothing in it?
Hype, shelf space. A lot of times, whenever people go into like a GameStop, the company essentially pays for, like, it's same thing with beer, rented shelf space. Boom. They want to have that there to remind you that it's there, because maybe you don't follow gaming as closely as we do, and you walk into a GameStop, you're like, oh crap, that game's out. I forgot about it. Or like cardboard stands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's advertising. But an empty box, and I have some thoughts about this if we want to go into it.
Yeah, let's go in, because like somebody in the chat saying this is going to end up killing used games. And that's my other thing too.
Yeah.
Is we've seen this with streaming, we're seeing it with Game Pass, we're seeing it with stuff. Gaming as an art form.
Yeah.
Right? And gaming is an art form. Right? Just like film.
Oh, yeah.
Just like music. More so than any other art form, though, because like if I really want to break it down, if I download a bunch of MP3s from iTunes onto my computer, right, I can burn those to a physical disc and stick them in any CD player under the sun, right? VHS, while some of that stuff's starting to wear, it's still around.
Yes.
Right? You can go, and there's actually a guy I watch on TikTok all the time who does, he cuts garage sales for like people's VHSs. How often do you buy used games? I used to buy used games all the time, right? My entire second tier was used games, right? If it was one of those ones where I was like, I like this, but I don't $60 at launch like it, I would wait for it to come down in the used game market, and then I would go pick it up.
I've done that.
Also, loaning games.
Yes. Yeah.
Loaning, excuse me. Loaning games is another thing, because I have some distinct memories from my childhood. Not even my childhood, shit. I borrowed Final Fantasy 15 from Sean.
Yep.
Right? On disc.
There
on
have been a
PS4.
lot of times when Joe, Sean, and I have just, like, Joe still has my copy of the original, like, of, not original, but the God of War for PS4. I was like, you should play this.
Yeah.
And I handed it over to him.
Right. And, like, even as late as the PS4 system launches, we've talked about that infamous ad multiple times.
Yes.
At the PS4 system launch. Here's how you loan a PlayStation game.
Yep.
Right? I don't like it. It just bugs me.
And okay, so I'm going to go on some personal experience here and
Go.
sort of my aggravation with where the weird intersection we're at in the U.S. and some other parts of the world. 2 points. Data caps still exist.
Yes.
So you're going to make me download 150 gig game.
If you're lucky.
Yep, if I'm lucky. And then there's an argument for that. Well, even if you have the disc, there's the day one update, and really the disc is just a code to download it off the internet. Okay. But then we get into a thing of coming from the rural area that I do. You know how frustrating it is whenever you don't have internet access, not to your own fault, but you just don't have internet access, and you have to sit there at 1.5 megabytes a second and download a 100 gig game. It's infuriating. It just completely mires and ruins the gaming experience, because I would have to put in the disc for it or start downloading it and be like, well, and it's been a time with gaming with Joe, I'm like, I'll see you in 3 days. That's it. So this is really, it's really anti-consumer for a lot of rural America. And I know we're like, well, just get better internet. It does not exist.
Work that way. Oh, yeah. No, anytime anybody argues that, like, just put better internet in rural areas.
Yeah, no.
What drives me nuts about those people is they are usually the people who are also arguing against municipal broadband.
Yeah.
Right? The same people who will be like, well, they just need better internet in rural areas are the same people who will fight you on municipal broadband.
Yep. And it's funny too, because of the lack of access to things, like I'm not kidding when I say this. going into town or going to the store was an actual phrase growing up. So, and it's gotten a little better as I've gotten older, that area. But I would have to pick and choose what games I got because we have disposable income here with the cost of living and wages and everything like that. A $70 game in the Midwest and in the Southeast is a far bigger chunk of money than it is out
much bigger
here.
luxury. Yeah.
So you're kind of doing yourselves a disservice for your fan base because that somebody looking forward to Starfield for 2 years, they'll save up, they'll spend $70 on your game, and that will be their game for 6 months, a year. They will stand that game. But this kind of makes a barrier for them. And they might just be like, well, never mind. Why? So that's my thought. I feel like I need to advocate for people in rural areas quite a bit the more I see decisions like this. And it just sucks.
Well, and again, on top of that, I don't love the precedent that we've been setting in that games are essentially a long-term lease now, right? I can't buy a fucking game anymore, right? Because when I buy a game, I'm not buying the game because here's the thing, if I buy it from Steam, Valve could shut Steam down tomorrow. If Lord Gaben got a wild hair up his behind, now would he probably get sued? Sure, right?
Yeah.
But they legit, and we've seen streamers do this with movies, like, oh, that one's just gone.
Yep.
Right? We've seen rights fights and stuff like that, which is why you can't find Dogma on any streaming platform, right? It's because Harvey Weinstein's holding that hostage, right? And so not only is this game, a semi-exclusive in that it's only coming to Xbox and PC, right? Which is also one of the reasons I'm not surprised it's not getting a thing, because the Xbox and PC are much less likely to release a physical edition than PlayStation is.
Yeah.
Right? Because PlayStation doesn't make consoles without disc players.
Well, they all have a version of it.
Yep. So, and I also don't like the fact that, again, so actually this is the one that used to get me too. Deployed soldiers. Right? When I was deployed last time, I had an Xbox 360, but it was not required to be connected to the internet. And quite frankly, the internet connection that I had was like that one. It's like, gonna be getting 1 meg down if I'm lucky, right? And so I didn't connect it to the internet, but you know what I could still do? I could buy 360 games, and just put them in the player, and play it.
Yeah. I mean, and you could probably get care packages, from people with a game in it,
right?
Yeah. I mean, I get that this is an inevitability.
It's
gonna happen. It's gonna happen because it cuts down on printing costs, which I know how much does it cost to print a disc, but they're looking at every cent.
Oh, I know they're looking at every cent. But
I just think that our infrastructure and internet, like, we're getting ahead of ourselves, and we're not there where this is a feasible thing. Just like all these places rolling out 4K streaming, YouTube 8K. I'm like, well, okay, you're gonna eat up somebody's data cap that exists for some reason in like a week. So I don't know. I just think we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
And kind of swing this all the way back around, Bethesda, it shouldn't be hard for you to confirm. And I think that they're not confirming because I think that everybody's kind of throwing a fit about it, and for good reason.
Yeah.
And I think they're embarrassed now.
Yeah, probably.
Now, fortunately for them, it's only June, and so they've got time to get these discs run. Right?
Oh, yeah. It's just, what happened? I want to know what happened there. There was a breakdown in communication somewhere.
Again, and this is basic stuff. This is something that there shouldn't be an issue with.
Yeah.
Come on, Bethesda. Let's get it together.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the topic of, like, it's so cheap and easy to bring internet to people, and like the argument about municipal internet, but I don't want to, for the sake of time and everyone's sanity, we'll hold off on that. But yeah. So,
what do y'all think?
What do you think happened?
I think that I think that they are going. I think there are going to be very few editions that actually come with a physical disc. I think the physical disc is essentially going to be a download code, and they're trying to get away from it. I agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
You said about this. I just think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a terrible idea.
telling me a major company has communication issues.
Yes.
You know, this is the first big release, I guess.
Since Microsoft bought Bethesda.
So maybe there's too
which
many
also
chefs.
came out this weekend. They bought Bethesda to keep this off the PS5.
Yeah, you think there's too many cooks in the kitchen? They didn't think about this? Once they, like, the finish line was so far away for Starfield that they just didn't plan for it. And then once it got here, they're like, oh, who's in charge of
No, because
this?
they have a product management team.
That's true.
They should have and I'm sure they do. I'm sure there is somebody on the Starfield team whose job is to be the product manager.
Yeah.
Who goes, okay, in the Collector Series 1, this is the crap we're sticking in there.
Yeah.
In the Steelbook Series 1, this is the crap we're sticking. There is somebody's job to do that.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Now, I'm sure they have to, like, run over to Todd Howard's desk and, sniff his leather jacket before they get an answer. But I'm sure they have to run it by him. And like, okay, here's our presentation on the various versions of Starfield we're going to release,
Yeah.
right? The Digital Founders Edition or whatever, right? Like, see, I broke Pete because he knows that this is all the shit that they do, right?
I've been in it so much, yes.
Stop buying collector's editions, please. It's generally not worth it, especially if it doesn't come with a physical good,
Yeah.
right? Stop it.
Do we want to?
Here's the thing. It's coming to Game Pass day one, so I'm fine. I'm not going to buy the extra stuff because it's coming to Game Pass day one.
Maybe that's what they're banking on. They're like, F it. Just get Game Pass. F them. Game Pass. Oh, you don't want to download it? Well, you wouldn't have to even worry about it. You could preload it if you just got Game Pass.
And again, in the Game Pass scenario, I'm fine with it being a lease. In the Game Pass scenario, I'm fine with them taking on we see the article every month, right? This is what's coming to Game Pass this month. Yeah. This is what's leaving Game Pass this month. That comes out every month, right?
Yeah.
I look at the article, see if there's anything interesting.
There's entire Game Pass YouTube channel.
And again, in that context, I'm fine. But if I am shelling out $70, $80 for something,
yeah.
You want
to have it.
I want to own it.
Yeah.
Right? So, what do y'all think?
They're making gaming more niche. I wonder if we'll see some arcade level gaming death.
No.
I'm actually going to write that down, though, for like...
Evergreen topic?
For a longer form discussion.
There you go. We'll do that one. We'll do that one as a longer form discussion. All right, folks. Video games have more versions than MTG packs. That's almost true.
Thank you, Odie, for that idea.
All right, let us know what you think. Again, while we're getting into our next topic, if you have anything you want us to talk about, drop it into the comment section on TikTok or Twitch or YouTube. We are live on all 3 platforms right now.
Yes.
So, if you have anything you want us to talk about at the tail end of the show, we still got 45 minutes left, and I only got like one more planned topic for today. All right, so y'all throw us your topics. Otherwise, you're going to see me and Peter vamping at the end of the stream for 40 minutes.
I mean, we could talk about a lot of stuff.
Yep. Okay, drop that one from Kelsey into... Oh. There we go. Thank you very much, Kelsey. That's a good topic.
Lordy, Kelsey. Okay. Yeah.
That's a great one. So again, if you guys have any topics, throw them down in the chat there. All right. Our next topic today, supposedly, our good friends at Google are trying to find a way for you to play games through your YouTube app or on YouTube on your desktop.
Is this Stadia 2?
I have no idea. So there's very little information. This is all starting to leak out right now. I'm wondering, is this like the games that are on Netflix? Like, because Netflix has games. Everybody forgets about it.
Bad Piggies on YouTube.
What? Okay, so 2 questions that I have. One, why? Why? Just because a thing's out there doesn't mean you need to make it. Okay?
Can I play games at work? YouTube's 100% going to get blocked on your work computer.
I knew a lot of companies that had already blocked YouTube on their
yeah.
work computers.
Fuck Stadia.
You play the Netflix games? What are the... I have never actually played the Netflix games.
Okay, so there are different ones. There's some like interactive stuff. There's trivia, which actually we really enjoyed that you can use with the remote. That was cool. But they did have stuff like Angry Birds and Flappy Bird.
Okay.
Like Crossy Road. Just base level phone game stuff.
That you could do on Netflix.
They're just mobile games without ads. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
So is that what YouTube's gonna do?
Maybe so.
See, Netflix has games. Yeah, Netflix has games. I've read a bunch of stuff about it. I just never. Maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll go find a Netflix game and play it. What do you do in YouTube? Like, what do you think, Pete? Like,
I think this is okay. I think this is a great way to reduce your average traffic to the site by getting it blocked on work computers. Let me tell you, as the IT guy for quite a few offices, as soon as productivity drops and they see that YouTube tab when your boss walks by, if they see any drop in productivity, that shit's getting blocked quick. That's why Facebook's blocked. That's why Twitch is blocked. But they leave YouTube unblocked because there's educational stuff on YouTube that's helpful.
Sure.
But this is a great way to reduce your average watch hours across the site. That's what I think. I don't think people actually use it.
So apparently their first one that they're testing. So apparently they've pushed this to employees to test. The first one's called Stack Bounce. It's very similar to Brick Breaker Arcade on Android.
Oh, I do love Brick Breaker.
This is just going to be Facebook games. That's what it looks like. I don't understand how this is an ad for YouTube.
I just realized.
What?
You know the whole thing with Facebook games and there being some like games, but they're really just kind of fronts for grabbing your Facebook information?
Yeah.
Do you know how much information is on your Google account? And you're going to have to click allow whenever you go to play that game, if it's like Facebook games. There are definitely going to be some spoof games out there that are going to try to grab your data, and it's going to be a problem.
Well, unless it's all run from Google. So the reason that was
Fair.
happening is that they were third parties that were running through Facebook to run those games. If it's just Google doing it, they've already got that data anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've done the download. Like, you know the thing where you can go download your Google profile?
Yeah.
Right?
How scary was that?
It wasn't, because I run so much stuff in private mode or
Yeah, fair.
under VPN. Like, I have done... Thank you for the bits, Necron. We appreciate it. I have done I do a bunch to make sure that I don't leave. I leave as little of a browsing trail as possible.
Yeah.
For anything that I would be scared about. Look, if Google wants to know that I mostly fly this airline and stay at these hotels, like, I don't really care.
Fair.
Right?
Fair.
I, like most millennials, am largely immune to most advertising for the number of ads I see a day.
Would make it easier to stream to YouTube. I'm sure they'll have Tim Tatman Courage doing it when it launches. Well, like, that's kind of our question of what games is it?
And again, my question is how is this a value add to YouTube? Like, give me the use case, right?
I do wonder if they're going to do it like Twitch's gaming, where you get free games and Twitch. There's the Twitch streaming app that you can install games through. Because I assume it's because it kind of keeps you in that ecosystem, and you'll be like, oh, videos, I want to watch them. I wonder if that's what YouTube's angling for, like because they want to keep people on the site. The algorithm rewards videos with higher watch time and retention because it keeps people on the site to serve ads. And if this is one more avenue just to keep people in that ecosystem, then maybe it's worth it. But I just don't.
I don't get it. Are they going to roll Stadia into YouTube? No. Stadia's dead.
Thank God.
Stadia is dead. They unceremoniously destroyed it.
I cannot tell you how bad Stadia was. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean. It was just objectively.
This goes back to our internet problem.
Partially, yeah. Partially, they just didn't have it. They just didn't have it figured out. They rushed it out.
Yes.
A lot of people, they had it at conventions. The feedback was like, this is pretty kind of laggy, not a very enjoyable experience. and they get that feedback, which is great. But
And
if
the pricing model was bad.
the pricing model was not great. But if you take that feedback and you send it and it just goes into a void, then and apparently that's what happened. And they didn't really fix it. It was, if you were to play Stadia next to Game Pass, you would think that Game Pass, you were playing it, had it installed on a machine that you were playing it on.
Oh no, I've done some streaming through Game Pass.
Yeah, and Stadia, in comparison, Stadia feels like you're probably trying to stream a game from over in the desert deployed. It's like watching a 1080p video on like half a meg down.
Yes.
Buffering.
Or it's pixelated.
Oh my god, yes.
You're just getting fragments of everything.
But
Um,
yeah, I kind of got off track there. Did they say have they said what kind of games?
So far, again, the only one they've that's leaked is again a Brick Breaker style, mobile game. So I'm imagining it's going to be Flappy Birds, Brick Breakers, Match 3s, like. But that's why I'm like, look, YouTube does what it does so well,
Yeah.
right? Like the reason there's no great competition for YouTube is because nobody's found a way to do that core business proposition better.
Yeah.
Right? The other ones, the other YouTube-esque systems that have popped up, they've always attacked something that like either YouTube bans this type of content, right? Or YouTube doesn't allow this type of content, or they're going for something different, right? YouTube, again, very good at what they do, right? Which is why, again, for that type of video, I would say they've got 90% of the market.
Yeah.
Right? So why muddle it?
Now, Odious brings up a good point. If they bring point-and-click adventures to YouTube games, that would be cool. If they can get like some classic point-and-click, I think it might have something.
That would be cool, but then there's going to be people who want new stuff. And the problem with that is, and this is why you don't see a lot of point-and-click games anymore, the amount of time it takes to develop a good point-and-click game with the level of like attention to story and puzzle and do is significant for something that you're not going to generate a lot of revenue off of.
I mean, I guess your hopes for that revenue would be to specifically get it on a platform like this and get the money.
Yep.
Not sales necessarily. They tried to monetize it, and no one else has been able to do it while keeping it free for users. It's a lot.
And here's the thing: YouTube has launched careers. Like YouTube alone provides livings to a lot of people.
Yes.
There is a strong like middle class on YouTube that's in that like not Mr. Beast level, but that like mid tier, right?
Yeah.
That do quite well on YouTube. And again, YouTube's managed to build a cottage industry out of content creation that I largely credit YouTube for.
I mean, we just talked about Smosh on Wednesday.
Yep. And Kelsey's right. They've managed to monetize it, and nobody else has been able to do it to their level while keeping it free for users.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, and this is always the warning, if you're not paying for the product online, you are the product, right? That's the truth, okay? Because they're feeding you ads, right? Because you're either paying for YouTube Premium, right?
Yep.
Okay, in which case you're paying them, so
Yep.
now Pete's not the product anymore. They're not serving Pete up ads. They're not serving up this stuff. If you're not paying for YouTube Premium, you are the product
So
that they are selling.
I had to replace my debit card, and YouTube popped up yesterday and was like, your payment failed, payment information. I've never clicked update so fast on something before.
You really can't stand YouTube ads.
No, when I'm hanging out with Drew and he has an ad play, when he's showing me a YouTube video and an ad plays, his roommate started doing it and I do it now. I just go, poor. He's like, yeah, I know it. I just can't do it. Yeah, when I had a roommate, they had ads because they were trying to show me something. I have the YouTube family plan.
Yeah.
I was like, hell no. I was like, if you show me one more video the entire time you live here, I don't want to see an ad. I just added them to the family plan.
I'll tell you what. So pre-roll ads on YouTube don't bother me. Mid-roll ads.
Yeah.
What I really want, and actually, not yet, but what I really wish they would do, because I think a lot of YouTubers would use it, is when you're uploading the video, right? When you're prepping the video for upload, if it's long enough where YouTube's going to go, there's going to be a mid-roll in this piece.
Yeah.
I would love it, YouTube, if you would give the creator the ability to go, this is where the mid-roll is going.
Used to be able to.
Right, where you can't even hit the make go public until you figure that out.
Yeah.
Because YouTube, you could lock it from going public.
Yeah.
And be like, look, you can't make it go public until you tell us where you want the mid-roll. Right. Because there's points where I'm watching YouTube videos where it's like, hi, and then today we're going to mid-roll. Like mid-sentence stuff, just absolutely, I'm like.
Yeah. They used to let you, and some people had a pretty slick, like, and now we're going to go and hear from a sponsor. And they'd like snap their fingers and be like, Judo Salesforce. I'm like, that was pretty well done. Thanks for preparing me for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, shared YouTube premium family plans are the life hack. They are. I don't want to be a shill for YouTube, but $25 a month for YouTube premium for 5 people with YouTube music. Pretty sweet.
See, it's just
pretty sweet.
Just a little more than I'd be willing to pay.
25 is kind of steep, but it also gives me.
I am not inconvenienced to the $25 level.
What all do I have? I don't even remember. I think I get extra Google Drive space too. There's a lot. It's kind of Prime-esque, like a lot of stuff that's packaged with it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But
All right. So games are apparently coming to YouTube for reasons.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You know how they have that the Play Store games silver and gold premium? Why not package it together? I'm also a little offended that my YouTube premium family plan doesn't get me access to that, but anyway.
It wouldn't help me on the Play Store anyway.
Fair.
Because I'm a dirty Apple user.
That's true. You're in another ecosystem.
You know, you yell about the poor, right? That was the joke. Like, you know, Apple tells Android users to stop being stupid and poor.
Okay, listen. There's a meme about like iPhone people being like, "Oh, poor Android," and the iPhone's got like a cracked screen and it's an iPhone 6. Somebody's like, "Oh, you're poor." Like, oh, that's an 8-year-old phone. Get out of here.
See, got my lovely iPhone. It's red. All right, that is so that's that topic. If you guys have any other topics you want us to talk about, we've got about half an hour left. So we definitely have some time for some chat topics. So if you have any chat topics, go ahead and drop them into our chats on either TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch. If you want to know more about what's going on this week, go to gamers7pnw.com. Go look into stuff. We're having a good time here. We all love you.
Yeah. Derek says, I hope it works. I like Stadia, although I agree the lag issue is frustrating.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. What's the best sock length? It depends on what you're wearing.
I have an answer.
What kind of pants am I wearing?
Doesn't matter. I have the answer.
What's the answer?
Tube socks. Because here's the thing. I figured out this hack. It's not a hack, whatever. With tube socks, you know, they go up midway, the lower leg. When you want ankle socks, what you do is you take the tube sock and you fold it down to where it tucks under. See, this is your foot, this is your heel. It tucks under halfway.
Oh, that would bother me in my shoe.
You would think it does, but it's pretty sweet. But then you only got to buy one length of sock. That's my answer.
If I'm wearing shorts, ankle. If I'm wearing slacks, like calf length.
That feels terrible. I disagree.
See?
Listen,
I'm just telling you.
I've had a life. Let me tell you. Not military life, but I just have had a life of adapting. And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Fair enough. Pete's getting ankle socks for Christmas.
Am I wearing? No, I'm wearing.
You were too socks. I actually looked down just to see because I could see his foot under the. Let's see here. Crew socks, one and only. No. I frequently wear ankle socks.
What are crew socks?
That's what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Crew
Like
socks.
your height.
I didn't know they had a crew socks and a crew neck. Yeah, crewed out. Or you could say I'm cruising. Hey, I'm not sorry.
Okay. Again, if you have any questions or comments or possible topics, if you guys saw anything over the weekend, drop it in the chat and we'll talk about it here now. In the meantime, how do I think PAX Prime is going to go? I am not. I am here. How about this way? I am cautiously optimistic.
It's not sold out, as far as I know.
It is not sold out. In fact, I got my tickets last week. Mm-hmm. Here's the question.
So you are going?
I am going. I will go at least a couple of days.
Yeah.
I don't know who's on the exhibitor list yet. I mean, the short...
I'll look it up while you're talking.
It's not out yet.
What?
It is not out yet. So...
It's pretty close.
It's not. We're still... I mean, they usually don't release that until middle of July.
Well, they need to hurry.
Yeah. Backing up. PAX is probably the convention I've been to the most. If I was to go look at my badge wall in my office at home.
Yeah.
I have worked PAX. I have been to PAX. I love PAX. Pre-pandemic, PAX was my favorite convention. Right? It was my absolute favorite convention. It is the one that I could easily spend 3 to 4 days at and not get bored.
Oh, you won't get bored, no.
Right?
As long as you don't, you have the people energy, you won't get bored.
PAX is kind of like Disneyland. You kind of, like your first PAX is going to be a little wonky because you don't know the flow and how to like best use your time.
Yes.
Okay? Once you get through your first 1 or 2 PAX primes, then it's really, really fun because you know what stuff you're willing to wait for, what stuff where you want to spend your time, how you want to do things, and the best use of the time that you've got on the show floor and at the different stuff. Again, PAX has frequently been my favorite show of the year. Right? Love PAX Prime. Pandemic happened 2020. They canceled PAX, which was the right thing to do.
Yes.
Okay? They canceled it in 2020. They did a limited PAX in 21.
Yeah, I said hell no to that.
It was still, and at that time they were requiring vaccine and mask. They severely limited the output. Here was the problem with that PAX, and I saw pictures, and the minute I saw pictures of the main show floor, I was like, that's not right. If you've been to PAX, you know on the main show floor, they never turn on the overhead lights in the old convention center. Okay. Right? Because all of the booths are lighting the room.
Yeah.
Okay? So the overhead lights are never on.
Right.
21 PAX, they were on.
Ooh.
Okay? Because nobody came. Nintendo, Xbox, Now, pre-pandemic, Xbox was always there. Nintendo was always there. Sony had stuff. Ubisoft was always there. Bethesda was always there. Everybody was always there. Right? I absolutely love it because there was always cool stuff to do at PAX.
Yep.
You get some cool swag at PAX. There's always neat shit. The fucking pins and pin trading was always a blast. They have a good tabletop scene at PAX. Everything about PAX is great. 21 was, they should have just canceled it. They should have just canceled it. 22 was a little bit better. It was a little bit better. It wasn't great, but it was a little bit better. But the biggest problem they still had was nobody was there. Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, pin people do. So the super pin people, they go super hard. Right?
That was my first introduction was PAX,
pin people?
PAX South to pin people because the merch booth and people giving out pins. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And Joe was like, people trade pins. He undersold it because then I went to PAX Prime at the time. Dude, and people were like, you got any of them pins? Like, people were going around crazy about it. I was like,
They'll
what
see your pins
is
on
this?
your thing and be like, what do you want for that one?
I specifically did not keep a pin on my bag because I was like, I don't want to have a conversation. Like, I'm just not, when I'm in public around that many people, I don't really want to have conversations. And I was just like, this is inviting way too much attention. Like, if you love collecting pins, good for you. But like, holy shit, there needs to be a warning.
Oh, yeah, for sure. PAX, in my opinion, PAX Prime this year. So PAX Prime will now have the double convention center, right? Like SoccerCon did. Oh, I remember that World of Tanks line. I remember the pin from World of Tanks. I remember that year. It will be entirely dependent on who comes. If Nintendo's got a lot to show off this year before the holiday season. And Nintendo's booths used to be awesome. I loved the Nintendo booth.
They need to do a little work on their line wrangling and keep it outside the aisleways because I made that joke before of people just kicking stuff over. Like, get the fuck out of my aisle.
NVIDIA's booth, always dope.
Yep.
Always, if you just want to try a bunch of different games, NVIDIA's booth was always good. Bethesda usually always had a good like experiential booth that was fun.
Warframe's booth is usually cool.
Warframe's booth is usually cool.
Scavenger hunts.
Twitch's booth is interesting to look at, and there will be they do a lot of like interviews and stuff all weekend at the Twitch booth.
So over Twitch.
Square's booth was always really, really cool. On the old one, the best place was the Indie Mega floor up on the 6th floor, right? You want to get a lot of hands-on with games, go up to the Indie Mega floor. And I'm sure there's going to be an indie thing there this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm used to it at the old convention center, the 3 floors that they would do. And Kelsey had asked, like, are they going back to their indie roots? I remember doing, PAX South was my first one, which is just an indie and board game showcase.
Yep.
Like, you can walk up to developers and just talk to them. And then I went to PAX Prime, or whatever it was, and they were kind of relegated to a corner. And
so that's like on the main floor. If you go up to the 6th floor in the old one, that was all indie.
Okay, I must have just missed it then.
Right.
So does that mean they paid for a main expo like floor booth?
No.
Okay.
They pay a separate fee.
Okay.
Here's the thing. The fact that PAX hasn't sold out yet is not a good sign. Right? I think PAX has lost a lot of the hype because of the last 2 years. And until they get a couple of years in them where like we get some major players back. Now, if next month they come out with a exhibitor list and you see Valve, Nintendo, Xbox, Sony, Square, Ubisoft, Bethesda, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Then it's this. So interesting thing. So my understanding is a lot of the major companies would take their E3 booths, disassemble them at E3, and ship them straight to Seattle. Right? It's the same booth. They use the same booth. PAX is going back to its roots. It might, and here's the thing, it might be a good opportunity for a lot of indie people to get in there. We thought about doing an Identico booth there, and I found out how much a 10x10 was for PAX this year. We had the opportunity, and we decided no.
Yeah, it was...
it's expensive.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to get into that, but the price jump was pretty significant from my understanding.
Yes, especially considering we don't know much about the floor layout. Now, PAX has always done what they call curated layouts. So with PAX, you do not you're not like, oh, this is the one that's open and this is the one I want. No.
They pick.
No. They tell you where you're going, and they curate their show floors, and they do it to make a better experience for
good idea
for the attendees. Screw you, it's about the attendees. Right?
Yeah, you don't get like some conventions where it's like, oh, it's Panda Gallery around oh, it's Panda Gallery again, and oh, another Panda Gallery. Cool.
On the topic of conventions, though, and a lot of people, this is a bonus for Seattle people. It is. If you're a Seattle native, and you're a Seattle person that likes going to PAX, yeah, this is probably a decent year to give it a shot again. Again, to me, I'm going for 2 days because I just can't.
You got to recover.
Well, I mean, I can do 4 days at a con. That's not the part that bugs me. The thing that I just don't think there's going to be enough to do. Because I don't know who's coming.
I mean,
like, before you would buy your tickets sight unseen,
yeah.
First off, because you had to, because the thing was going to be sold out in 9 seconds. And two, because you knew that the turnout was going to be good from the exhibitor standpoint.
There's going to be stuff. Well, if you did all 4 days, right, you also, that gives you more time because you know the Bethesda line, whatever it is it's going to be a 2-hour wait.
Yeah.
And you're less like FOMO about like, well, I'm fine to stand in this line for 2 hours. I got 4 more days.
Yeah.
Or 3 more days.
Well, and a lot of people like our friend Ryan Ye, he had the best strategy, in my opinion, is he would pick one a day. Each day of the con, he would go, this is the one big line that I'm going to wait. I'm going to do it early in the morning. It's going to be the first thing I do, and then I will not wait in those kind of lines anymore. Right?
Fair.
That was also a cool interactivity, though, to those lines, is that back in the day when the 3DS was big, you remember when you could freaking do localized play with 3DS? And they had check-in spots for 3DS? They did that. Yeah, back in the day, it was multiple Twitter alerts, wake up at 5 a.m. every day in June, and a group chat just to get PAX tickets. That was how it used to be for years.
I actually, last time I went to PAX, I was streaming, and I got a text from Mallow that the tickets went up for sale. And I was in the middle of the stream, and I was like, tough, y'all. We're waiting in line. This is the next however long. And for 45 minutes, I was just talking to him, refreshing the page. I was like, hey, I got to do what I got to do to get these tickets. It was a thing.
I'm a casual gamer at best. Is PAX worth my time? Yes, probably. Again, probably for a day. And if you're going to do it, I always recommend for a con the size of PAX, go with someone who's been there a bunch, right?
There's a lot of
really cool,
like merch and stuff. There's always a ChessX booth, which I know we're like, after experiencing the dice here, you're like, ChessX. They have novelty dice there. Like I have a giant Emerald D20.
They used to have the last PAX before the pandemic, which was 2019, which was great. They had the tabletop on a separate show floor.
Okay. Yep.
Maybe Alex could have a PAX tour group. Dude, I would have to charge money for that.
I feel like the hype's kind of down. I remember for years trying to get tickets and having to shovel out extra money, third-party ticket sales. Yep.
Again, you can buy tickets right now.
I think you're going to have, it's going to be a minute. It's going to take a little while for people to, how do I say it, like be comfortable doing that. Because, yes, largely, like, quarantine's over. But everybody, I think, is still in a little bit of shock. And if grocery stores and driving on the road and stuff like that is any indicator, a lot of people are still getting their sea legs underneath them again, as far as like being social and being around more than 4 people at one time.
Yeah. Now I will say this: if you're going to go with me to PAX, and I may not be the best person to guide you through it, because I walk.
You
fast.
Yes.
I move quickly through the PAX area.
Yes.
And the thing that drives me absolutely nuts at conventions, all conventions, if you are walking, get to a side. If you're going to stop, get to a side. Okay? These are wide fucking aisles.
Walk like you drive.
If you are going to stop, go to the side. Okay? Because if you dead ass are in the middle of an aisle and there's a group of 3 of you and then all of a sudden you all decide to just stop dead in your tracks,
you're going to get run over, right?
I'm going to throw things at you.
Yeah.
Right? They'll be like plushies, but I'm going to throw things at you.
Yeah.
All right. One more topic for today, because actually while we're on the topic of conventions, we can actually ding this one if you want to start recording on this one. So we already knew that Marvel was not going to San Diego Comic-Con right?
Okay.
Now we are getting more. And this kind of rolls into our PAX discussion about who's going to be at PAX. Is Nintendo going to be there?
Okay.
Xbox, etc. Netflix, Sony, HBO, Universal, Lucasfilm, and all of Disney are out for SDCC 2023.
Ooh, so like half of the sci-fi and comic book industry?
The studios, full stop, are just.
What the fuck is happening?
Warner Brothers has not confirmed.
What's going on?
So, sorry, say that list again. Happy to, chat. Here we go. All right, so we already knew Marvel was not going. Netflix, Sony, HBO, Universal, Lucasfilm, and Disney all out. No Hall H presentation. So Comic-Con is going to be a comic convention again. Yes, but there's a problem. The problem is they're not making any money.
Yeah. Straight up Comic Cons don't make the amount of money that San Diego Comic Con needs to make.
Is this related to the writer's strike? I would say it is tertiarily related to the writer's strike insofar as a bunch of stuff starting to get delayed. The delays have started hitting now that we're a couple months into the writer's strike. I think it is more akin to what happens if SAG-AFTRA goes on strike. Because if SAG goes on strike, who do you bring to Hall H? It's Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. It's Chris Evans as Captain America. They bring the actors, right? Because that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
Showrunners for the major shows, they bring them. They're out because of the writer's strike. They can't go.
Right.
Right? SAG-AFTRA goes on strike in 4 days.
Oh. So it would have to be like executives, and then any question about
And the director.
Yeah, and 50% of the questions will be about what's coming down the line, and the answers will be, "Oh, we'll see. We'll see."
I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back. I think this was already. Oh, thank you, Necron.
Thank you,
I think this was already in the offing, and here's why. All of them have. All of them have been doing kind of their own showcases. Disney started to push to D23. Warner Brothers was doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of them were just like, no, it's too expensive. We don't want to do it anymore. I mean, it generates a lot of hype, but it is also hype that is difficult to track to box office. It is hype that is difficult to track to, did this movie do better at the box office because we did Hall H or because our ad campaign was that good and our trailers were that good?
I mean, I'll voice it this way. When you came in, before you and I worked together, I had never heard of D23. Last summer, I believe it was, you came in and you were like, "Did you watch D23?" And you remember what my response was?
What's D23?
What the hell is D23? Now, if you said, "Did you watch San Diego Comic Con?" I'd be like, "Oh, no, I didn't see it. But what happened?" Mm-hmm. I think the reach of one is far more normie than the other.
Yeah, I agree. But I think this is what they're thinking about.
Fair.
I think this is what they're thinking about. I think they're thinking, we're just going to do our own showcase. It's a lot cheaper for us.
Dude, it's spreading out a little too much. I can't do a con announcement event every 4 days of the summer. Sorry. I got movies to watch apparently. Don't make me choose between your conference and your movies. Does that make sense?
No, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. But here's the thing. Again, kind of going back to our PAX topic, San Diego Comic-Cons, it's losing a lot of its like. Are these dying? Is this kind of event dying? I guess that's really my question.
I mean, are they seeing? Okay, let me loop back to the PAX thing.
Okay.
What are sales like for San Diego Comic Con? Are they similar to what's happening with PAX, where people are still like, I don't know if I want to be around that many people?
So.
Are we seeing the death of the convention? Or
I don't think so. I mean, they look at what happened at SoccerCon and ECCC. It didn't seem like they were.
People were pretty ready at ECCC.
You can get You can get a 4-day pass for San Diego right now.
For how much?
Looks like $860.
$860 for no one to be there?
No, wait, here we go. $588. These are all secondary market. I'm trying to see if there's any on the primary market.
Is that the current thing? Okay.
So here's the thing: a 4-day pass to PAX is like $240.
Mm-hmm. PAX is always the cheaper option.
Right.
But he says, I don't think it's dying. I think it's going
They
back
did sell
small. Okay.
It's sold out.
Okay.
Now here's the thing: they sold out, and now nobody's going.
Yeah. Well, you've essentially spent that money to then go to a Comic-Con, to have access to buy more varieties of comic books because the panels are kind of gutted now. I don't know if I'd spend $500 for access to buy a comic book. There's eBay. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of good merch, but
I see a lot of people saying they're more interested in SDCC without a Hall H. I just don't.
But are you?
You're not getting normies at that point to start coming to these conventions.
I was gonna say, I feel that, but are you one of are you of the bulk of people?
Yeah.
I guess is my question. And I don't know.
And so basically nobody's going to San Diego Comic-Con this year. PAX and FCC have lost their luster. I don't know. I think big corporate type of conventions are dying. E3's gone. PAX and SDCC have lost their luster. I think this is the year, and I think this doesn't help San Diego. I think PAX still has a shot at becoming a premier convention again, right?
Okay.
Like a top tier convention again. I don't know about SDCC if they can't get something next year. Now, a lot of people have been trying to get Comic-Con to move out of San Diego because San Diego's had a lot of issues for years. There's not enough hotel space. Getting around in San Diego is kind of a pain in the butt. You know, Hall H is freaking tiny, right, compared to the number of attendees.
Where would they go?
Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best option for them.
That makes sense. I'm just so I feel like given these last two topics, there's just such a hard shift with conventions that I wasn't preparing my mind for.
Again, like
what?
I don't see it as a dying of the convention because you were at ECCC with the Identico booth this year. Still a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
There was lots of folks. SoccerCon, lots of folks. They were bigger this year than they were last year.
That's what Kelsey was saying. VidCon and Anime Cons are bigger than ever. I was expecting ECCC and SoccerCon to be kind of like, whatever. But apparently there was a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So they were masked up. They were just really excited to get to meet some of their creators, some of their niche creators, and just yeah. I feel like a lot of those things are for, they're excited to share their fandom, but also there's always really neat merch and art. It's almost like going to an art event or
like a museum
or like a big artist farmer's market.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
That makes sense.
So they have that to fall back on. So, that's a good point though. So what happens?
I don't know. Like I said, I think this is probably if SDCC can't recover next year, right? Because this is all very last minute and they're already sold out. Right. I think when they put their tickets on sale at the end of this year for next year's con, I think they have a hard time selling them. Because especially after the pullouts of this year, and without guarantees, I think a lot of people are going to be like, meh.
So do we see in the next 5 years, 10 years, the spot as far as the western half of the U.S. is just Vegas? That's the spot. If you're going to do a convention, Vegas.
I think for a lot of them, yeah. But Vegas is built for it.
Yes.
Vegas is purpose built for it.
Yeah.
The convention center in Vegas is 5 times the convention center size at SDCC.
I mean, you also have, in a non-gaming aspect, there's a reason why the UFC based out of Vegas. A lot of wrestling events have been in Vegas recently with quite a bit of success.
They moved a football team and a baseball team there, and a hockey team. The pandemic and the corporations pulling out might be too much for SDCC. So I'm going to say something that's probably going to upset a lot of people. The corporations, as far as the corporations are concerned, the pandemic's done.
Oh yeah,
It's over.
oh yeah. They're ready to make stories about it.
Yeah, it's done. And honestly, seeing ECC where masking was not required, right?
Yeah.
I would say it was about 50-50 as far as who voluntarily masked and who did not.
Higher percentage of them masked than I expected for any con. They were a lot more mindful.
SoccerCon was still mandated, but I think, and I don't have any inside information on this despite who we know, I think that this will be the last year that SoccerCon requires it.
Probably.
That would be my guess.
Oh yeah.
Cons need to reassess and see what they offer their fans. The problem is the fans made them grow and grow and grow and grow because more and more people.
Yep.
And now the problem is it's shrinking a little bit. But the problem is they have to fill these convention spaces. These guys book this stuff years out, years in advance, right? So they're stuck.
Yep.
Right? They're kind of stuck.
There's a lot of situations where you're just like, you accept input or you keep growing and you're just like, okay, there's interest in this, and soon you've splayed out so much that you're just like, well, shit. What? Oh, it can become really not niche anymore and kind of unmanageable.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was at SummerCon. I think I only saw a few people mask. Yeah, I heard that about SummerCon. I also heard SummerCon was good.
good.
I would say in general, I see about 2 to 5% of the population just masking in general in the world right now.
Yeah.
I still see people, but now it's low enough where it's notable to me again.
Yeah. It is notable, but I have, being on Reddit, I've kind of taken a different thought towards it of like, because I've seen a lot of people say like, I wear a mask not because I'm afraid, but because like, if I'm sick, like if I have a cold, I don't want to spread it to somebody. And a lot of people, and I agree, they're like, I also enjoyed going 2 years without having a cold.
Pax Plague was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Pax Pox or Pax Plague, like con flu, was absolutely a thing even before the pandemic.
Yes.
Right? By the end of a 4-day con, like I could feel it coming.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which reminds me, I really wish, even before the pandemic, motherfucker, if you're that sick, stay home. Is PAX required masks? I don't think so.
I sincerely doubt it.
I think it's masks optional. I think they're permitting them, but I don't think they're requiring them. Yeah. The only one this year that I knew was still on a mask required was SoccerCon.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think PAX is requiring masks.
Yeah.
So there you go. It might be the death. Maybe it's just the death of the big cons.
I mean, wouldn't it be pretty, I don't want to say appropriate, but like given the just intense shifts that we're seeing suddenly in so many sectors, adding cons into that thing that's shifting, like wouldn't that be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, is that why Adam Cole wasn't there? I heard he was sick. Ooh.
Wow.
He had
that's
a pretty
interesting.
He had a pretty big match on a pay-per-view that is the meshing of the #2 wrestling promotion in the U.S. with New Japan, which is the biggest Japanese. They do a once-a-year event together, and he was scheduled to be on there. He's pretty big name, and he got sick. So.
Could be smart cons with one big thing. I don't know about one big thing per se, but
dang. Well, thanks.
It may just be the death of megacons.
Maybe.
I still think you have big ones. Like SoccerCon was a big one. I don't think SoccerCon's going to die. I don't think ECCC is going to die. Thoughts on Musk and Zuckerberg cage fighting? There is no amount of money you could pay me to watch that. I could care less.
It would be so bad.
The only way I would watch that is if one of them had to, and I mean legit, not fake it. One of them had to give away their fortune, their entire net worth at the end. You must go to zero.
Yeah.
All of your property, all of your money, all of your stock, everything. If the stakes for the fight was you lose everything.
It'd also have to be free.
Except for your life. Then I would watch it. Aside from that, there is no...
Yeah.
Okay?
If you've
Because
ever...
it's either going to be... Or it's going to be like this, because there's actually been a lot of these YouTube creator bouts and stuff like that inspired by...
The Creator Clash.
Yeah, the Creator Clash and all that stuff. A lot of these are, but if you watch, like, I follow Alana Pierce.
Yeah.
And so, like, they agree to do it, and then the people who are putting on the event give them 7 to 8 weeks of training so they don't look like complete turd burglars when they walk in the... when they walk in the doors.
There's a...
So that's what... If Musk and Zuckerberg actually go through with it, both of them will hire, like, pro-level MMA trainers and weight trainers and dietitians to get them to a state in 8 weeks.
You have to. There's actually a...
So dumb.
There's a scene in Parks and Rec with Leslie Knope. Like, she's just getting her aggression out in boxing, and it cuts to her doing it. She's like, oh, okay, with inspiration music. Like, all right, how long was that? And she's like, 30 seconds. And she's completely winning. She's like, what? No! You kind of have to have the cardio to it, because cardio, it's whatever, it's exhausting. Also, there's an adrenaline dump when someone's trying to punch you in the face.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway, I won't get started on that. As somebody who's trained, it is hilarious and almost more entertaining to watch people who are not trained to fight. Very unpredictable, but
yeah, I have no desire to watch that.
it would have to be free, and they'd have to give up their fortunes.
That's the only way I would watch that.
Yep.
So, all right, folks, it's 1:05. We went a couple minutes over because we were just chatting. Thank you all for the pits today, the subs. We really appreciate you. We will be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time for another episode of the Super Show. We'll see what happens today. If you want to know what's going on this week, go to gamers7pnw.com. There's always stuff happening.
Yes.
So, Mario Kart this Saturday. So come race. We're doing more Field and Casuals. We got Street Fighter on Friday. So we'll do more hype this week. But go check the calendar. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. It's the end song. We're ending now. Thank you for watching and chatting. Yeah. See you guys. See you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.
I can't bring my voice any higher. Love you. Drink some water now.